WTBwJandC, episode 16. Thank you. What's up? Guys, we have a surprise for you and a surprise for me. Our buddy Daniel is here. What's up, buddy?
Not much, man. What's up with you?
Not much. Just working. Ha!
Sorry,
that's Josh's
That's
standard.
my answer.
That's Josh's standard answers. Nothing much. Working. Editing stuff.
Yeah, I don't think you get to say that right now.
I can't. I'm working on working. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, you're working on going to Vegas tomorrow and this surprise recording session.
Oh, yep. Sorry about that. I'm real bad about not communicating my plans with people because my plans change so often. Or at least that's the excuse I'm given.
That's the excuse you give. Me and Daniel were just talking earlier that you like to complain that you don't do anything and you sit home all day, but then you're always double scheduling things and you're always busy doing something.
So that's from my perspective because I hang out with you once or twice a week usually, and it doesn't seriously take up that much of my time. But most of the time I am just laying there. I was home all day Tuesday, yesterday. I was home all day. And I come walking into the kitchen and they're like, "You're home?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "We thought you were gone." I was like, "No, I'm in there laying down." Like, "Oh, okay. All right." So they think I'm leaving every day because I just lay in my room.
Man.
I've watched a lot of Stargate lately.
Hit us up to do stuff during the day.
I lay in there because my knees hurt.
Well, play games or something so you're not just sitting there alone.
That's true. Buttons is with me.
Depending on the game, he still might be alone.
That's very true.
True.
But really, I only play games with, you guys. The only game that I play, by myself, recently at least, was, Skyrim. I did a little bit of the Outer Worlds, because Spacer's Choice, it's not the best choice.
It's Spacer's Choice. Outer Worlds is a great game.
But it was a good game, but I never finished it. RPG-style games, single-player games, they're not my style.
You don't like RPGs.
That's not that I don't like them. I just don't go out of my way to play them. I played Fable, and I played Skyrim, and I watched Dan play Dragon Age, and that was pretty good.
Yeah.
But, yeah, beyond that, really, I usually only play multiplayer games. Because that's what it's about, man. Daniel can attest. That's how it was in the 80s, man. Huh?
Said you did some Factorio.
Oh, yeah, you know what? You're right. I'm actually pretty deep in Factorio, but that's different because Factorio is actually crack cocaine.
It's not really a game so much as a drug.
Yeah. Definitely. I get why.
And it is multiplayer.
It is.
We have played multiplayer games Factorio.
Never finished them, though.
Daniel even joined in.
Yeah, that's true.
One time.
We had that one time we had you and me and Daniel and Aaron.
Yeah, you guys were just way too beyond where I was.
What?
You were just way too beyond where I was. I was just learning to play, and you guys were building these super belts.
Super belts.
Super belts.
Our beginning factories are super belts, man. Although I will admit, when Josh was showing me Factorio, that's how I felt.
Yeah, it can be overwhelming at first.
Yeah, but you figure it out, and then
we should all hop on a Factorio game again.
That'd be fun. It'd be a good little game, good little thing to do.
We'll take it slower, for Daniel, so he can kind of get used to it.
Yeah, instead of just immediately getting set up, we can run him through how to get set up.
Instead of immediately just starting to set up a 6-lane main bus.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, no doubt. So when Josh showed me the bus, I screwed up his bus so many times in the beginning because he's like, "Here's what I want you to do. I need something that makes green chips. Just make green chips." And he showed me how to pull stuff off the bus. But I was running it through the other lanes. I was just running it straight out and then turning.
Oh, yeah.
So it was all crazy. My first factory looked like a plate of spaghetti. It was bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'd be like that, though. Especially in Factorio, and especially when you move into plastic production. Because you got to start doing oil and refine that into plastic, and that's a whole ordeal. Which, my most recent game, the one I'm trying to get the Lazy Bastard achievement on, I've already messed up. I had a plastic factory set up and ready to go, but my sizes were off, and now everything's terrible.
Or everything's terrible.
Everything's terrible. That's it, guys. That's the whole show. Everything's terrible.
That's Factorio.
Everything's terrible. That's Factorio. Yeah, you can see how one problem might affect, 20 other problems.
Yeah,
So I'm making 1 million iron every minute. Where's my iron? And I find that the answer often lies in the train system. So I'm not good at setting up train systems. But, there's other games I enjoy. Like, I hopped on 7 the other day.
Just by yourself?
Just by myself. Yeah. Just scoping it out.
Well, what day was that?
I don't know, man. All my days are the same. It was like Wednesday or Thursday last week.
Get you a calendar, man. Start crossing off days.
Why? What's the point?
So you know what day it is.
I don't need to know.
So you don't double schedule stuff.
You know what I'm doing tomorrow? Nothing.
The problem isn't tomorrow.
You're going to Vegas tomorrow.
Yeah, you.
Oh yeah, that's right. Oh man. Oh man. Maybe I should get a calendar. There might be something to this. There's a calendar on my phone, but I never use it.
Well, yeah, you need to mark off days. You need a visual representation of the days.
Something I look at every day.
Yeah.
My phone, but last time I opened my calendar app was. I don't think I ever have.
Daniel was expressing some concern to me earlier about your Vegas trip.
What kind of concern?
That you can't walk.
It's a good idea.
He doesn't think it's a good idea.
Oh, me either, man. But I'm about to go down again, so I just want to have fun. And I'm not going to be spending all my time walking down the strip.
I mean, if
really,
you're going to go down, I guess
I've
Vegas
walked-
is a good spot for it. There's plenty of
Say
opportunity.
again, I'm sorry.
Said if you're going down, Vegas is a good spot for it.
Going down?
Down. Vegas.
What do you mean?
The Chinatown?
To Chinatown? You going down to Chinatown? Chinatown. All right, that's a wrap, everybody. No, so we got an Airbnb, which is basically just somebody's house that they're not going to be at while we're there, and we've got it for 3 days.
Do they know
and
this?
Huh?
Are they aware that you're going to be there?
No, absolutely not.
That
would
sounds
be
about right.
uncouth. But no, so I'm assuming most of our time is going to actually be spent there because I think because of COVID, I don't know how much of it is going to be open. The casinos are open, I think, and a lot of the restaurants are still open and the buffets and stuff. But there's these new regulations, and I don't know. I'm just going to have to figure it out when I get down there. But I can walk about 2 miles really before I just have to stop and take a seat for 15 minutes, and then I can get up and go again. But I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. Mason and Lou were like, they got those little electric scooters all over town. You can just hop on one of those and we'll go. It sounded like a suicide machine to me at first. It's like I got to step off my scooter and just collapse. What if I start wobbling and I have to catch myself? That sounds terrible. But if I'm gonna be walking around for more than a mile, I'll just take an Uber. It's not a big deal. We live in the future, man. I don't know. I'm being as careful as I can while having as much fun as I can because I'm about to not have a bunch of fun.
And you're about to be laid up again.
Laid up, not just laid up. If I was just laid up, it'd be fine. Well, it wouldn't be fine, but it's going to be laid up and in extreme pain for weeks. That shit hurts. They're not fun. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm going to take a 2-week nap after surgery. What's new with you guys?
Make sure you put that on your calendar.
Yeah, no doubt. It's just to have like 14 days X'd out and just asleep. But the last time I had one of these surgeries, I had to take my pain meds like every 4 hours, which means I had to wake up every 4 hours and take another pill. One time I slept through the night, and this was like 4 days after. I slept through the night or whatever, but I woke up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and just like in the most incredible pain you can imagine. It was raw. The stent that they put, the nerve stent that they put in your leg before the surgery, had worn off. All of my pain meds had worn off, and there was just this gash in my knee, and I felt all of it. And it was awful. So that, I think, is going to be the hardest part of all of this, is being able to take the pill every 4 hours.
Set an alarm.
Set an alarm. Well, if I'm asleep. It's like alarms don't wake me up very easily.
Set a loud alarm.
Kind of what they're supposed to do.
Yeah. Well, my main concern is I don't want to wake up in that kind of pain again.
Get that alarm that slaps you in the face.
There you go. I'll put Buttons' shock collar on me. I'll just set it on a timer for every 4 hours to buzz me.
Weird.
Here we are, man. It's 2020. This is the
Here we are.
Belt. Look at us.
Look at us.
Oh,
So what's up, Daniel?
no doubt.
I feel like Cody's doing all the talking.
Well, that's like a usual podcast, though.
It is.
Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. What do you want to talk about?
You called us, man.
I
What?
would
That's true.
ask
Like-
I did
Joey.
not.
Anything going on you want to talk about, Daniel? Don't know why my voice just cracked.
I don't know. I was wondering that myself. Daniel?
I recently picked me up an HD DVD player for my 360. That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, he got the HD DVD player for the 360.
Why?
Just to add to his collection.
I mean,
Yeah.
as a collector piece. Man,
Yes.
I forgot those things existed.
Those of you who don't know, Daniel collects old video games and video game systems and accessories.
Absolutely. He's about that life.
Actually has a pretty impressive collection at his house.
Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah.
He's got all the fun games from our youth.
They're just as clear as Blu-rays, man.
Was HD as clear as Blu-ray?
Yeah.
Because Blu-ray
Yeah.
won.
They were the same, pretty
Because
much in
Sony
quality.
put it in their PlayStation 3.
Is that why? Because
Yeah,
they put
that's
Blu-ray
why.
instead of an HD drive?
Because Sony put it in the PS3. That's why. I mean, there's more reasons than that, but that was definitely a fact.
I mean, basically, it won because one of them had to win because they weren't compatible with each other.
That's true. Well, what confuses me about, especially PlayStation, the PlayStation 3, was it had such a problem with overheating. Like, it was a pretty popular problem.
Well, I mean, the 360 had that problem too.
Yeah, they both had
The
that.
red ring was pretty popular.
Oh,
It was
actually, you're
well
right.
known, yeah.
You're right. I only got red rings once. But, like, everybody I knew with a PS3 had issues with it overheating.
I mean, I got them once too.
Went with,
What was that?
Because they both went with those IBM processors. Power, PC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think pretty much everyone I know who had an Xbox got the red ring of death.
Remember Randall?
At least once.
Randall's Xbox would get red rings like every 2 weeks because he just never shut it
Well, that's
off.
because he never turned it off. But to be fair, Randall also could fix the red ring. He also knew a few ways of fixing it.
Fixing it.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, there was that way where if you like wrapped your
Towel.
wrapped it up in like towels and blankets and like superheated it, it fixed it for some reason temporarily.
That makes zero sense to me.
It worked though. Like I literally watched him do it with an Xbox that had been red ringed, and then he wrapped it up in towels and a blanket and like left it on all night long, and then it worked again for like a week.
That is so crazy.
And then it red ringed again, and he said he can't do it twice.
No, he just melted all the fuses. Man, I thought his fix for red rings on Xbox was to take the guts out.
Yeah,
And then take
that
it
was
back
another
to
one too.
Walmart.
He did scam Walmart a few times with that. He just bought a new Xbox, switched to the guts with the new one with the old one, and then took it back and returned it and said it didn't work.
A sneaky mate. That's way cheeky.
It's a lot of work to scam the systems, but
Well, I mean, $300 to someone who works a minimum wage job is that's worth it, you know.
And they went through a lot of Xboxes.
And he played a lot of Xbox.
yeah, but Microsoft did some fixes for that, and if you had it within the warranty, they would fix it.
Yeah. Eventually, they got some fixes for it, and I think the later 360s didn't red ring as much either.
No, yeah, they
No,
fixed the problem eventually, but still there for a minute. You're right. Xboxes were red ringing like all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, all the third generation consoles they had that problem.
Yeah.
Well, at least PlayStation, and Xbox. I don't think Nintendo did.
Well, 360 was the second generation.
I was gonna say no, you're both. That's not third or second generation.
What?
Wait, well, I thought it was the Xbox.
Well, it's the second generation Xbox.
Yeah.
Second generation Xbox, but the Xbox 360 is a seventh generation.
A seventh generation of like video game consoles.
Oh yeah, well, because Daniel goes all the way back to the olden times.
Well, he was there 3,000 years ago.
I was
He was
there.
there
I
3,000
saw.
years ago.
I had the
Playing
cords
the
on the
Atari.
controller. I saw the 8 bits on the screen. I still do.
Just the screen of an old cathode ray tube TV.
I actually dropped off my 3DO at 8-bit
I
gaming.
didn't see HD till I was already a man.
You dropped off your what? I'm sorry.
A 3DO.
What's a 3DO?
It's a 32-bit console that flopped. But it's a fun collector piece to collect for. Not super expensive.
That's cool. I've never heard of those. A 3DO. If I
Yeah.
have, it was from you.
I've heard about it, but I'm pretty sure I heard about it from you.
Well, 3DO makes games now, just like Sega makes games. 3DO company.
Oh.
Okay. Did they ever like evolve into anything else, or was it just a dead end console?
The console was too expensive, so they tried a different strategy. They tried to basically outsource the consoles and not make them themselves. And
Not making themselves.
yeah, like
That made
Nintendo
them,
make their
like,
own
crazy
consoles, and most companies make their own consoles and make money off the basically like royalties for the games. Because like Microsoft and Sony, they sell the consoles for less than it costs them to. They take a loss,
Oh, well, that's a terrible business plan.
but they make their money back on the royalties from people making games for their system.
Okay.
But since the 3DO company decided they were going to outsource it, that kind of removed that. And so it was like $600 for a 3DO.
Jeez.
It was back, in the early 90s. Something like so. But it was one of the first.
$600 in the early
32-bit
'90s. That's a
systems.
lot of money.
That's where Need for Speed came from. It was on the 3DO first.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought that was a PlayStation game.
Yeah, it got ported to the PlayStation. Need for Speed got ported to a lot.
Okay.
Kind of like Doom got ported to every console it could. Even the Super Nintendo, which was a really rough port.
Was the Super Nintendo only had like 16 bits, right?
It was a 16-bit console, but when they came out with the FX chip, it definitely improved it tenfold. Jeez. But it still wasn't quite up to running Doom. If you ever try to play Doom on the Super Nintendo, it's rough.
Sure.
I don't know. I never played anything on Super Nintendo, really.
Oh, really?
Oh man, Super
I
Nintendo
played Mario
is one
Kart
of the best
and, like,
consoles,
Sonic.
just
Not Sonic.
overall.
I
A
think
lot of great games.
the oldest consoles I played on were a Sega Genesis and the N64.
Oh well, Genesis and Super Nintendo were the war,
Well, where does
console
the
war of
Dreamcast
legend.
fit into all this?
The Dreamcast?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was like a really good console, but like nobody
1999?
had one.
Not 19.
99? 99?
Yeah. It.
But yeah, it was the N64. That was the main console that I played as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Played Star Fox
So it came out in what, like 1996 or something?
and Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. Super Smash Brothers. Hey You Pikachu, you remember that one?
Yeah.
Pokemon Stadium, Pokemon Snap, Diddy Kong Racing, Donkey Kong 64, Super Mario 64, Legend of Zelda, The Ocarina of Time. These are all 64 games, and they're like classic tier games.
Yeah, the Nintendo 64 is definitely considered classic now. I mean, that was back, 1996. Fifth generation, so.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
really the last cartridge-based system, other than some portables.
Is that the last cartridge-based system?
It might be, besides like, the little handheld Game Boys and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Like DSs and
stuff
stuff.
like, but as like,
But actual like big consoles, yeah, I think that might have been the last
I guess
cartridge.
the Switch takes those little cartridges, but
Oh yeah, the Switch does,
Well, that's a handheld.
but it's a handheld one.
Well, it's
but
a
it-
hybrid.
the Switch
It's a
is
hybrid, I guess.
yeah.
They hybrided it, but yeah, it takes the cartridges.
Yeah, and that's so cool. Actually, the concept behind the Nintendo Switch for me is an awesome thing because you can plug it into your TV and play with everybody and the controllers and all that. But you can also pull it off of that and take it with you somewhere. Like I saw videos of these people at music festivals that had this guy was carrying around a backpack and it had a Switch attached to it. And he was like $5 and you can play Super Smash Bros on my back, It was funny. It made like $1,000.
That's the way to make some money, man.
Dude, it worked.
Yeah, the Switch is doing really well. So.
Yeah, the Switch is doing well. Like they're putting out a lot of
Well, I
really
think
good games.
yeah, Nintendo's always done consistently pretty good. I think, like they've never been like a top console, but they've always done good.
They've been top.
I would say they
before.
were on top
The
when the
Super
64
Nintendo
was
was
out.
top.
Well, yeah, back then I was talking about like in my lifetime.
But
Oh,
the
sure.
Nintendo 64,
Especially
it lost to
lately.
the PlayStation.
But yeah, they definitely lost to PlayStation, and then the
GameCube
Xbox came
did
out,
pretty good, but the PlayStation 2 definitely won that as well.
which I never actually had a PlayStation 2.
I had a PlayStation
It dominated. It's not even a question.
I had the N64, and then I got the original Xbox. And then I got 360, then I got Xbox One.
2. I've been pretty solidly Microsoft for
Yeah.
most of my gaming
Basically,
career.
as soon as the Xbox came out, that's pretty much the only console I really played. I did get the PlayStation 4 just for the VR to play Beat Saber.
It was a
Yeah.
pretty good game.
Well, the PS4 it's beating Xbox One, but
Not to me, though.
Well, that's actually strictly an American thing I hear is like Xbox does really well here, but everywhere else they use PlayStation.
Yeah, PlayStation is more international.
it's
Like
the
definitely
Xbox,
have way more international success than the Xbox did.
The Xbox is like 50-50 in the United States versus the PlayStation. They're about equal. But in Japan, the Xbox, they're like, what is that? So worldwide, PlayStation is winning.
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah,
that's what we just said.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Sony is a bigger company than Microsoft is too.
I don't know if they're a bigger company than Microsoft.
Yeah, I'd have to look.
The game division goes, yeah, definitely there.
Well, that's what
They're
I'm
a bigger
talking about. We're talking
but-
about games.
But Microsoft is a much larger company than Xbox.
Well,
Well, Sony's
Yeah,
a bigger
obviously.
company than PlayStation.
Microsoft owns Xbox.
Oh yeah, and so Sony's a bigger company than just PlayStation too.
Well, yeah, and I'm talking strictly in gaming.
So yeah,
Sony is the bigger
Sony
company.
is bigger than Xbox, yeah.
Yeah.
But Microsoft is bigger than Sony.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
Microsoft's
there's
heyday
this-
was the 360. They started off so strong with that.
Yeah.
But in the
Well,
end,
I-
PlayStation 3 still outsold it.
Well, yeah. If everybody in the world buys one.
Well, yeah, because yeah, their international success has always been better.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and it was
I just
people started.
the thing
figuring
I
out how to
dislike about
compete for it.
PlayStation the most. I'm sorry, what?
the PlayStation 3 is it was hard to program for at first and difficult. But
Oh, yeah.
once they figured it out, then it started.
Well, sure, that's with anything.
The thing I've disliked about PlayStation ever since the beginning was the controller. I have
Yeah.
always hated the PlayStation controller.
Yeah, it's not the best. It's not ergonomically designed.
I even liked the gigantic Xbox controller better
The
than the
Duke?
PlayStation
Wow.
controller. Yeah,
The freaking Duke.
which good. I like the new Xbox controllers better than the big one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I've always hated the PlayStation controller.
Yeah, it's not ergonomically designed for your thumbs, and I never did like their analog systems. I think it's a more advanced controller than the Xbox controller is, but I just
Is
don't
it?
like the design of it because it's got the touchpad and it's got a 6-axis sensor in it, and it actually can do a lot of stuff.
And the rechargeable batteries actually last, and you don't have to buy batteries all the time.
That is true. Their battery life on their controllers is pretty decent. But I think
If they just made a better shaped controller, like it would be good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I like it.
Well,
And
surely you can like
that's why they
jerry rig
kept
something
it.
together.
They kept it because it was a popular controller design. They didn't change it. It's
I mean,
basically
it
had
is-
that same shape since the first PlayStation, which was actually based off the old Super Nintendo controller. They just added the little handles on it.
Yeah.
Do you remember the old NES system that it was just a rectangle?
Yeah.
With a D-pad and AB, select start. But it was just this rectangle. It was so awkward to hold.
But it was revolutionary because before that was a joystick with a button.
Yeah, it was just one joystick, one button.
The Atari 8700.
It's all you
When
need.
they came out with the D-pad, they were just like, "Wow, we did this a long time ago."
Like, wow, this is way easier.
This is
Wasn't that
way
so
better.
indicative of human inventions?
Like
They
even
get something that works, and then somebody comes along and like, this is way better.
Yep. But there was a lot of crazy controller design, like this Nintendo 64. We don't have to.
Oh, yeah. Nintendo 64. Looking back now,
That
how
what-
did I ever play a shooter with that
What
game?
a garbage controller.
That was
The 64, like my favorite
That was
games
crazy.
when I was a kid were on 64.
You know, because you couldn't even use the joystick and the D-pad at the same time because you had to
like,
switch your hand.
hands. And it wasn't convenient to switch hands.
yeah. I mean, most games were designed to either or, so
Yeah.
so it was a very weird design.
Yeah, it's crazy. Very unique. Like there hasn't been a controller designed like that anymore.
There's a reason for that.
No doubt. You know what had a weird controller for me personally was the Dreamcast.
The GameCube had a weird controller too.
I liked
The
the
GameCube
Dreamcast.
did.
I mean, it came up with the wire coming out of the bottom instead of the top.
Yeah.
And they had the VMU memory cards, which were cool. The Dreamcast
oh,
was
yeah,
a
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
powerful and good system,
Yeah,
but
and
they just
you
couldn't
didn't
keep
have
up
to
with
have a
when
rumble
Sony
pack.
came out. Do what?
I said, and they had built-in rumble packs.
Yeah,
Dreamcast, I think,
Yeah.
was the first to do that.
Sega did right with the Dreamcast. Like they did everything right. They just when the PlayStation 2 came out, it was just over. Other than that, though, it was doing great. Unlike the Saturn, they really kind of bombed that. But
Sega Saturn. We're not going to talk about the Sega Saturn.
it did good in Japan.
Yeah. I had a friend that had a Saturn when I was a kid, and we always played Sonic on it, but that was the only experience I had with Sega Saturn.
So they didn't actually make a true Sonic game for the Saturn?
Did they not?
No.
I could have sworn it was Sega Saturn.
Like there was like other weird games, but there was no true Sonic game for the Saturn. Like that was part of the thing. Is the Dreamcast got one, but they had like Sonic Jam. You're cold.
Well,
But-
maybe it was the original Sega. It was
Yeah.
Sonic Adventures, whatever game that was, whatever console that belonged to. Doesn't matter. I had a good time over there. I had a good time with Sega, and I had a good time with Sonic. I look back on them fondly.
Yeah, but Sonic was a fun game.
Yeah, I like Sonic.
So,
And
is he owned by
Saturn
Nintendo
had
now?
a lot of good. Yeah, I have a Saturn, I picked up Dragon Force.
Yeah, I think so.
For it, which is a pretty rare game. You'd actually probably like it. It's strategy.
You would like it.
I do.
What was
like
it?
It's called Dragon Force.
Oh yeah, you were telling me about that you got
Yeah.
that game.
No doubt. Well, do you think that video games have gotten harder as consoles and games have evolved, or if they've gotten a little easier?
Yeah, it could go either way. There are some older games that are very,
Yeah.
very hard. But there's some newer ones that are pretty hard too.
Yeah, there are definitely new games that are hard. I think overall they've gotten a little bit easier
I would say so too. Yeah, overall they've gotten easier.
because I think the reason for that is just that, way back in the day they couldn't make games long. They didn't have, the storage capacity, so they made them difficult.
Oh, sure. That makes sense. The example that's coming to my mind is Daniel was telling me one about, it's called Demon Quest? Demon Crest?
Oh, Demon
Gate.
Yeah, that game's pretty hard.
Yeah, it just drops you into this world, and it's all a puzzle, and it like gives you no clues. You just have to walk around and figure it out.
Yeah, but that game's actually it's pretty long. And then when you went to PlayStation, just even PlayStation 1, there's some really long games. Final Fantasy VII was.
Well, yeah, I was talking about before that. Like
Well, that's just
Super
the
Nintendo,
cartridge limitations.
like the original Super Mario Brothers and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
And a lot of games, being made for arcades were made to be difficult, so you died and you had to spend more money to keep playing.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I actually never had given that much thought, but that totally checks out.
Yeah, there was a lot of arcade ports, and they had to adjust them because you didn't have to put quarters in.
That's fair. I ask because there hasn't been or at least to my knowledge, like a super difficult game released in a while. The last one I heard of was like Ninja Gaiden 2. It was supposed to be like the hardest game ever.
Dark Souls. It's pretty
Dark
difficult.
Souls. Crap. I never played Dark Souls.
It was pretty famously difficult.
I never played Dark Souls, but you're right. It is famously.
I never played it either because I looked at it and I just wasn't interested in playing it.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people that did, and yeah, it was famously difficult.
Well, it wasn't only you versus the environment either. It was you versus other players because they could come into your world and like mess up your stuff or like attack you or something.
Could they?
Yeah, they could like rob you.
I didn't think they could.
I don't know. I didn't play the game, but this is just something I heard somewhere probably.
I know I saw a thing where like you could leave messages or stuff in your game and it would appear in other people's games so you to give like hints and stuff.
Oh, maybe that was
But people would troll you and get you to like jump off the map and stuff with it.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. You know what game didn't get what it deserved was the Two Towers.
Two Towers was fun. It was just unfinished.
Yeah,
Wanted
it
to
wasn't
keep
a full
going.
game. And it didn't have the advantage of having a huge community to play it because it was set up to be like a big MMO style Xbox game. But
Yeah.
nobody played it.
That'll happen.
That'll happen.
You know,
But
it was a hard
it was a
game.
neat little game.
Battletoad.
Battletoads.
That was a hard game.
That I've heard of. Or no, what was it? Cuphead. Did you ever hear of Cuphead?
Mm-mm.
Cuphead is, I'm pretty sure, I think it holds the record right now for being the most difficult game ever made.
I mean, it depends on the source you go to. But
Yeah, I mean, all that kind of stuff is subjective, but
Yeah.
it is pretty consistently on every list of difficult video games. Like it's on that list.
I've never actually heard of it. I don't
Really?
even know what it is. Yeah.
I've never played it because I have no interest in playing super difficult games. I'm what you call a relaxed gamer. Leisure gamer, if you will.
Leisure.
Leisure. Oh, it is interesting to see how far video games have come just since I've started playing them, which was back in the mid '90s, you know. And where we're at today, just watching that evolution, how fast it happened, really blows me away when I sit down and think about it.
Weren't you born in the mid '90s?
No, I was born in 1990, so I started playing original NES Nintendo when I was like 5 in like 1995, and then the 64 came out when I was 6, and we got one when I was 7, I think.
Did you just skip the Super Nintendo?
Actually, yeah, I never owned one, but I had some older cousins that had a Super Nintendo, and I would play when I was at their house. But beyond that, no. Like the first console in my house was the 64, well, and the regular NES Nintendo.
About some GoldenEye on the 64.
Some Golden.
Yeah, I did play GoldenEye on the 64.
You know,
That was a good
trying
game.
That is
went
hard,
back
though.
and played GoldenEye.
I beat that game, but going back and playing it now, the controls are just so hard
Oh,
compared to
man.
what we're
Yeah,
used
the
to.
controls are rough for.
Yeah.
First person
For
shooter.
now.
Yeah, you didn't know then because you didn't know any better.
Yeah,
It was fun.
Everybody
It was
the
fun
best
when it
IP.
came out, though.
You mastered the system then, and if you played it long enough, you get back good at it again. But you're just so used to the dual analog these days that everything works that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also played.
Separating look and movement was a good idea.
Mission Impossible game was good
I never played that
on the
one.
N64. I played that one a lot.
You know, I've never even seen the Mission Impossible movies.
You know, oddly enough, neither have I. I've never watched Mission Impossible.
I've seen bits and clips of Mission Impossible, but I've never actually watched.
Well, yeah, it's impossible because it's pop culture referenced all the time.
Sure.
Yeah.
I thought you were making a pun. Because you said it's impossible.
Super Mario 64
Oh, no.
and The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. Those two were great. But
Yeah.
Oh, those are the
64
Mac
really
Daddies
didn't
of the game
have
world.
just that many great games overall.
Well, there for like a 5-8 year period, Nintendo was just putting out banger after banger after banger.
Like
All
they
their
got
games
the Mario
were doing
parties,
really, really
and
well.
the Pokemon games. They got a lot of good multiplayer going.
Yeah, they did.
Pokemon games.
Yeah,
Those are good games.
Pokemon Stadium.
You know when the game changed was when Xbox started designing, or not Xbox, Sony started designing PlayStations not to be a video game console, but to be like a home entertainment console. Like it was supposed to replace all of your electronics that sit under your TV. It's just consolidated into
they
one.
did that with the PlayStation 2. When they made the PlayStation 2 able to play DVDs right out of the box,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
one increased DVD sales tenfold because now you could just your game system was a DVD player. Like Xbox, you had to buy the remote and the sensor.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to buy a remote, which I always thought was weird.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
a mistake to do.
Well, yeah. Well, they originally didn't design it to play DVDs.
Well,
And the PlayStation 2 was designed to play DVDs. They were trying
like you
to
could
replace...
play, you could always play DVDs on the Xbox, but you had to buy the remote.
Yeah, because the controller couldn't do it.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying. Is why I feel like it was a decision on their part just to sell you something extra.
Oh,
Yeah.
maybe.
Because
I think
obviously
so,
the
too.
Xbox could play the DVDs without anything extra being added to it. They just made you buy this $20 remote in order to activate the feature.
Right.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know, maybe because
the PlayStation 2 could do it right out of the box, and they made sure you knew it, and it helped
Yeah.
sell them.
yeah, it was a selling point. But Xbox was breaking into their the only console that had like dual joysticks before that, I think, was the original PlayStation.
Yeah, that's
Right?
where
The
the
Dreamcast
DualShock came
had a
from.
joystick, but it was just one.
The PlayStation 1 started out with no analogs, and then they came out with DualShock. And then that became
Oh.
the standard for the PlayStation 2.
Okay. Well, then I've got that wrong then.
Yeah,
Well, they were
so-
breaking new ground. And you remember the original Xbox when it came out, how big the controllers were?
Mm-hmm.
That's because of it had to be that big because the circuit boards that were in the controller, they couldn't make them any smaller. They didn't know how to yet because they were using 2 thumbsticks and that hadn't been done before. Plus the way it was shaped up and that's why they were so big. But maybe I'm thinking that they had to sell the remotes separately because they were trying a whole new controller design, and they couldn't.
I think
put
they were big because the tests they used were the merit audience were bigger hands, and they were shooting for more adult-sized hands, but the smaller controller was much more user-friendly, which was the design that was planned for the Japanese. The standard.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. This is a YouTube video I watched like 10 years ago, but it stuck with me.
I don't know. I think, the only reason is just because they wanted to sell the remotes. They just wanted to sell something extra.
Had Apple's business plan?
Yeah, they just wanted to sell something extra to activate a feature that was already there.
You know what's crazy is I actually think that's why games have gotten easier now. It's not that they're inherently more, or they're easier, but that you can now pay money to get what you would have gotten had you just played the game all the way through.
What?
That's a bad explanation.
There are pay-to-win games. Those exist, but not all games are pay-to-win games.
Not all games are pay-to-win games, but more and more games now...
Actually, I think most games are not pay-to-win games.
More and more now have DLC, which is basically pay-to-play. If you want the best stuff that the game has to offer, you have to buy it. You have to keep buying it.
Yeah, well, DLC usually, because it offers more stuff to do in the game.
Yeah.
It's not offering you more power in the game. It's offering, another, quest area or
it depends
another
on the game.
another campaign.
Another campaign or a newer weapon.
Access to extra races.
Yeah, something like that. You're paying for an enhanced version of the game.
Yeah, you're paying for more content.
But I would rather them just put out a full game and then you pay for that game.
Well, yeah, they do.
It was like what they
most
did with
of the
Destiny.
time. Destiny, that was not great. I didn't like Destiny's plan.
Was a money scheme. They just kept releasing the same game over and over again.
Yeah.
It's what Bethesda did with Skyrim.
Except there's nothing extra. They just kept re-releasing Skyrim.
Re-releasing Skyrim. Like, here you go, buy it again.
So it looks like that controller was a little bit of both. It was a big circuit board, but Microsoft in Japan basically said, nope, I'm not going to bring that big controller over here until you redesign it. And that's where the smaller one came.
I don't know.
But as in big controllers, you got the Dreamcast controller was pretty big. Look at the Jaguar.
The Dreamcast was pretty big. It actually looks like the old school Xbox controllers. Minus the dual analogs.
But anyway, back to DLC though. I think most games are released as full games, and then the developers just make more content for the game later and release as DLC.
Depends on the type of game. Like, if you're talking your cell phone games, there's just...
cell phone games don't even count as games.
Josh does not qualify mobile games as legitimate games.
They're not. Mobile games are just money-making schemes. They are money-making schemes. That is all they are, disguised as video games.
Well, so is DLC, if you have to pay for it. Weren't you the one that refused to play any more of, was it Destiny, because the game wasn't finished?
Well, yeah, that's because Destiny was a money scheme too.
Well, it was a 10-year rollout.
But Destiny was the exception, I think, to console and computer games, which are usually not like that. But all mobile games are just full of microtransactions, and they're just there.
There is a lot more DLC present in mobile games.
There are a lot of mobile games that you just buy the game outright, and it's just a little game. Like, there's lots of little RPGs you can buy for your phone.
And that is true.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some. But the vast majority of them, like Clash of Clans.
Any multiplayer game, like Mobile Legends, Clash of Clans, Clash Royale.
Yeah, they're pay to win if you want to...
Yeah, they're pay to win games. I guess that's the biggest problem that I have, is it's pay to win.
Tyrant Unleashed was pay to win more than anything I've ever seen.
It was pay to win every 3 months.
Yeah, if you didn't buy the new stuff, your cards were nothing.
Yeah, and you had like a 0.0% or a 0.05% chance of drawing the cards you needed out of the random packs.
But then you get games
Yeah,
like
and then-
Pokemon Go where, I mean, I really haven't. Every now and then I might have spent 99 cents, but not much, and I do just fine in that game.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's supplementary.
Pokemon Go wasn't too bad
Yeah.
about it.
They had supplementary DLC, which is good.
But back to
But yeah.
consoles and DLC, games like, we'll say, Xenoverse 2. There's 11 DLCs on that, and each one's
There
like,
is.
bucks,
Well,
$7
a lot of DLC isn't necessarily bad as long as each DLC is actual like new content and not just the rest of the content like Destiny was. Like Destiny, every DLC just ends on a cliffhanger with no resolution because you got to buy the next DLC to get the next
That's
phase of the
not
story.
true. I mean, there was a boss at the end of each game. There was a boss that you had to
Like
fight.
there was no clear end to the story.
Well, that's how World of Warcraft did it.
That's not true. Every expansion of World of Warcraft has a clear ending.
Well, that's so did
And
Destiny.
the resolution of all the storylines happening,
It did have
and
the
then
resolutions.
and then new storylines get started for the DLC.
Well, that's basically how Destiny worked.
No, it didn't.
Well,
Destiny
Destiny was
just
just a
straight up
rip-off of
ended
Fantasy
on like a
Star
cliffhanger before you bought the first DLC.
Because the first one did that a little bit.
The second one did too. The
Dark
second one
Below,
did too.
the Dark Below was not a good game. They released it as DLC, but it was really it's Destiny 2. Well, now
Isn't
there's
there
Destiny
already-
2. It
yeah,
doesn't matter. It's like the next
there's a
version of that
Destiny
game.
2.
There is a Destiny 2 now, and I own it because I'm an idiot.
Me too. Because I'm an idiot. I did not buy the DLC though.
No, my favorite iteration of Destiny was the Taken King.
The Taken King.
The Taken King was great. Like they introduced, you could do modifications to your little ships that they give you. The one thing I wish they would put in that game is that you could do ship battles. Because you spend all this time customizing your little ship, getting it looking all cool. You go after the rare ones and all that, but you can't do anything with it. The only time it's even a factor is in the load screen when you're waiting,
and the loading
waiting
screen.
for people to do missions with.
Anyway, so yeah, I don't play pay to win games anymore.
That's good.
If a game offers any kind of in-game bonus for real money, I just don't play it. I'm okay with some microtransactions and like an in-game store as long as they're just like cosmetic stuff that doesn't change the gameplay at all.
Sure, you want to buy the game.
Yeah.
Well,
whole
if
game.
it's like a fighting game like Mortal Kombat, they do DLCs for new characters and things like that.
Yeah, but it's a new character. It's got a new set of skills and a new set of moves.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool. I'm okay
And
with
some
that.
add story to it, or a new mode.
Yeah.
Right. But if they were to release a character that you had to have to finish the game, but you had to buy the new character, that's
Yeah.
where it's a problem. Because they're making you rebuy the game that you already bought.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. I think that's your big problem with Destiny. Because it's basically just 5 demos.
Yeah. And it was my problem with the new Star Wars Battlefront when EA released it. I was just like, that's a lot of money to play for a demo,
That's a full price game, man.
It's a $60 demo. There is a new MMO coming out called Ashes of Creation, and it looks really good, actually.
I haven't heard of it. I'll look it up after we get done here.
Yeah.
What's it about, though?
So, apparently, when the game starts, there's like almost nothing in the world. Like, there's no cities, no nothing. It's basically a wilderness.
Mm-hmm.
And as players like kill monsters and do stuff in the zones, it starts to develop the zones.
Okay.
And eventually, like, an encampment will spawn after so much stuff gets done in the zone, and then you can go get quests from the encampment. And as you do more stuff, it eventually upgrades to a bigger encampment, and then it gets bigger until eventually it becomes like this huge like metropolis.
Okay.
And in order to keep like gameplay fresh so everything isn't just all developed, when one zone develops, like, it holds back the other zones around it. So players can do PvP to like siege zones to de-level them so they can level up their zone that they want to level up.
Okay.
That sounds crazy.
And players can actually become the leaders of zones a few different ways, because there's different kinds of zones. I guess there's like a military zone, which as you level up will have stuff for like PvP and fighting and all that.
Okay.
And the leader of the zone is chosen by like a battle royale. All the players can join in, and it's last man standing becomes leader of the zone.
Kind of neat.
Then there's
That's
like
crazy.
religious zones, and the leader of that zone is the player who provided the most XP to leveling up the zone becomes leader of the zone.
That's awesome.
Economic zones is just like it's a vote.
Whoever got
Put players-
players gold or whatever.
Oh no, yeah. Economic zones it's the highest bidder. Players just buy the leadership of the economic zone.
Is it cooperative?
Yeah, like there'll be like it's big MMO, so there'll be guilds and stuff in the game.
That might be a fun one to stream.
And
Yeah, I'm looking at.
there's
it now. It
another
does
zone
look
too.
good.
I forget what it's called, but that one is an election where all the players get to vote, and this person who receives the most votes becomes leader.
Interesting.
But yeah, so like your guild can work to level up a zone, and then one of your guys becomes the leader of the zone, and your guild kind of controls it.
Okay.
But then you got to defend it against other guilds who are trying to de-level your zone so they can level up their zone.
It sounds fun, but it sounds almost like Stronghold Kingdoms.
Well, no, it's not like that because it's MMO. It's going to be like a first-person RPG game.
I meant mechanically, it's going to work like Kingdoms.
No, because
no, it sounds pretty intricate and good. It opens up a
yeah,
lot
this is
of.
far more intricate and stuff than Stronghold was, and it's not like you're spending all your time building up your little city and then it just gets lost, you know? Because
But you
even
will
if
definitely
the
have to
zone that your
dedicate
guild
time
is
to
trying to
it.
control, what was that?
You'll have to dedicate time to stay in this game to keeping your stuff up.
Well, yeah, I mean, not necessarily, because other players will be there too, you know? Even if they're not the leader of the zone, other players can still go into your cities and take advantage of all the benefits of a military zone.
Okay.
So just because another guild
nice.
is trying to attack that zone, other players will join in the defense because they want the military zone to stay high level.
Sure. Well, it sounds very interesting.
Oh, also, so there's different races you can pick. And as the like XP of the zone goes up, it matters what race characters are building the XP determine the architecture of the city that gets built.
Oh, that's neat.
So if it's a bunch of dwarf characters leveling up the zone,
Uh-huh.
it'll be a dwarven city that spawns.
That's
Or if it's
kinda
orc
cool.
characters, it'll be an orc city that spawns.
That's fun. Is that purely cosmetic, or does it give you like bonus?
I think that's just purely cosmetic.
Right on.
That's just a fun little thing.
Oh, that's cool. Neat little Easter egg.
But-
Seems like different races would have different bonuses in their cities they get, and different units and items.
I think that the bonuses, items, and stuff is based off of what type of zone it is. There's like 5 different types of zones.
But everybody basically has access to the same.
But yeah,
benefits.
anybody can just go into the zone though and go to the city.
Okay.
But there are benefits to being the leader of the zone.
Well, I don't know.
And I
about
don't- I don't
anybody,
remember what they
because
are.
If you're a member of a different zone, wouldn't they just attack you if you went into them?
Well, no, because you know it's kind of like it's open world. Like everybody can just go everywhere. The attacking zones is like a special, like instanced PvP thing. Like you start the siege of the zone,
Okay.
and then players have time to join the siege, and then it becomes like its own instant, like a dungeon, basically,
Oh,
where
okay.
you're attacking the city.
That makes sense. See, that would be fun. And that's a PC game?
It's gonna be on PC, yeah. It is gonna be a subscription-based game. I don't know how much it's gonna be a month,
Okay.
but I imagine probably around 15. That's usually what it is.
Typically.
But
yeah.
they have one of the things that it was is that they have promised that there will be no like microtransactions that affect gameplay in the game. They will have a store like WoW, but it's all going to be like cosmetic stuff.
Sure, so
like
you can buy like
different
special skins.
Yeah, like different kinds of mounts, different kinds of skins for your armor,
Yeah, sure.
but it won't affect gameplay at all. What's that?
Word. See, and I like that. I like that concept for games, because if you buy a game, you want to be able to buy the whole.
Yeah,
game.
like I want to buy or it'll be free to buy. Like the game won't cost any money up front. You just have to pay the $15 a month subscription fee. Yeah, it's a free download and then a subscription for game time.
Okay.
So actually, you don't pay for the game; you just pay for game time.
Sure. So it is pay to play, but it's just a
It's
subscription.
pay to play, but just a subscription.
Sure. That's
fee.
WoW, and I have no problems
Yeah.
with WoW.
Well, WoW you actually have to buy the game too. Like the game's $40.
Yeah, that's true. Actually, I keep buying WoW and then I play it for 2 or 3 days and then quit.
That'll happen. I do think production of Ashes of Creation though has been like slowed down because of COVID though. But they are making it. Like it is being made.
Well, that's cool. Well, maybe when it comes out, we'll do like a review series or something about it. We'll get on there and play it and check it out.
It'd be fun. I'm definitely going to check it out. I'll at least buy 1 month and play it to see if I like it.
Sure. You got time for a subscription-based game there, Daniel?
Well, I'm actually checking it out here.
Yeah. Is Dave Ramsey going to let you do it?
Not cheap.
What is it?
The cheapest pre-order pack's like $150. What is it?
Whoa.
But there's one that's like $375. It's Voyage.
Oh yeah, well
pre-order.
that's their like crowdsourcing things that they're doing.
The game is crowdsourced?
Partly.
Huh. So you can
But
choose to...
once the game actually comes out, you won't have to purchase the game at all. I don't know what they're offering as bonuses for their doing that, but...
Sure. Well, nothing that is going to affect gameplay. Apparently.
Yeah, nothing that's going to affect gameplay, apparently.
But they might give you like a cool skin or a cool mount or something like that.
Yeah, you probably... Exclusive skins and mounts is what you're buying there. And just... Some people are fine with spending money to make stuff that they like.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a cool game, and you want to support it, building it right. So
but
people like to throw their money at it.
As far as I understand from the stuff that I've watched and read about it, is that there will be no cost to buying the game. It's a free download, and then you just have to purchase Game Time, which will be a monthly subscription.
Word.
Of probably around $15.
Well, right on. Well, I say we keep an eye on that one. That sounds like a lot of fun. That's something I would play.
Yeah.
I like cooperative style games. But, my dude, you got to get to work pretty soon, don't you?
I do, so we'll probably end it here for the sake of work.
Got to go fight that Rona.
Yeah. So, if you like, hit that like button.
Mystery bell.
Subscribe for more.
Gently assassinate. I don't know if we can even say that.
He said a funny one the other day on one of his videos.
Politely
He was like,
polarize.
please take the like button out for a nice dinner and then never call it again.
Devastate that like button, man. But like, share, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. You want to
All the good stuff.
hear us spew more of this nonsense.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Absolutely. Daniel, thanks for being here, man.
Yeah, I might come back next week and do some power scaling and upset the Dragon Ball community with my opinion.
Do it.
I like it. Do it. All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Later.
Later.